whispers through the trees. Bats whisper through the eaves. Your mind's whispers are full of fear, and I whisper in your ear. I am called the Whispering Man, and you're listening to Ghost Story. This all happened to someone in my cousin's school in Washington State. Research has been done to try and verify any part of the story, but so far nothing has panned out on that line. I guess it'll just remain a mystery, a story. You can judge for yourself. One year, a family in a suburb near Seattle was lined up to get an exchange student from Europe. They were expecting a boy, age 15, same age as their son, to come from Norway, but at the last minute, they received word from the exchange agency that they were going to host a girl, also about 15. It was kind of vague where the girl was coming from. Some of the emails seemed to indicate Russia, others said she was from England. But the family had been looking forward to hosting an exchange student. The mom had been in that program when she was in school and had loved it. And so they decided to go ahead and host the girl, despite all this confusion. The day of the girl's arrival came, and they all went to the airport to meet her. When she got off the plane, everyone was stunned. The girl was drop-dead gorgeous. Raven black hair, dark eyes, a gymnast's body, easily the most beautiful creature any of them had ever seen. Everyone, even the neighbors and friends who came to her welcome party, was taken with her. She said very, very little. Her English wasn't very good yet, but she could hold an entire room with her gaze, and she seemed to have a way of getting what she wanted from other people, especially men. Right away, the mom in this family knew this arrangement would not work. Her son was already drooling over the girl, and they were facing an entire year with the kids sleeping just 2 doors apart. They decided to contact the exchange student agency and bow out of the arrangement. "Could you please find another host family for this girl?" the mom said. "She's lovely. She appears to be very, very nice. She's very quiet and very clean, but hosting her is just not going to work in our situation." The agency pushed back. The school year was starting, and they said they wanted all their students settled. They said they had had difficulty placing this girl already, and insinuated another family had already rejected her. Things went back and forth like that for quite a while, and then the mother's persistence paid off. Another family had become available. Not a moment too soon, as things had gotten kind of weird. As it turned out, there was no problem keeping their son and the exchange student apart. In fact, after his initial infatuation wore off, the son grew disturbed by the girl, avoiding her at school and spending more and more time alone in his room. When the dad asked him about this, he broke down, and he said he could hear her all the time, like her voice was in his head. And because of this, he wasn't sleeping. They were a week into the school year, and the son was already way behind. On top of that, the girl was causing problems at school. 2 boys had already gotten into a fight over her, even though neither one of them knew her, and several of the more popular girls had gone to the office to complain about her, saying she was disruptive in class and purposely caused the fight just to watch the boys hurt each other. Then, one of those girls was found in a heap on the floor of the girls' locker room, blood pouring from 4 massive red gashes across her face. She would require hundreds of stitches and multiple surgeries, but she refused to tell anyone what had happened. And everyone who questioned her, from the school staff to the police, agreed she was terrified of something but wouldn't say what. Finally, the day came for the girl to leave and go to her new host family. It was not a tearful goodbye. The mom and dad wished her well. The son stayed in his room. The girl didn't say anything. She simply got into the car with her new family. They had 2 kids, both under 10, and drove away. For a while then, everything was fine. The son settled down at school, and other than the girl with the shredded face, everyone seemed to forget about this beautiful, mysterious exchange student. Then, the son disappeared on a hiking trip with some friends up in the Mount Rainier National Park. Search parties looked for him for 2 weeks, but there was no trace. The boy he had shared a tent with said he never heard him get up in the night, but when he awoke the next morning, all the son's gear was missing, and footprints led from the tent down the mountain. When they got below the snow line, they simply disappeared. Not even tracking dogs could find his trail. The rescuers gave up, and the police gave up, but his mother never did. She insisted her son was alive. 6 weeks later, the mom was up in the middle of the night just sitting in the kitchen. This was normal for her by then. And as she waited for tea water to boil, she saw a car pull into their driveway with the lights out. A boy got out of the passenger side, and even though he was only a shadow, she knew immediately it was her son. The mom ran out to greet him and got just a momentary glance at the driver of the car. A street light had flashed across the driver's side for just an instant, and in that instant the mom saw the driver was the girl, the exchange student. The car drove away very fast, without lights. The boy was okay. Pale, but okay. But he wouldn't talk about what had happened to him, at least not right away. Not to his parents, nor the police, nor anybody. He slept for 2 days, and when they took him into the doctor, he was diagnosed with anemia. By and by, he got better. He even started talking to his parents about what had happened to him. And yes, he admitted he had gone to see the girl. Despite dreading her when they were under the same roof, the son now claimed to be in love with her. He had left the hiking trip to go see her, and now he wanted to move 2 towns over and into her room at her host family's house. He even claimed the host family was okay with this. His mother and father, however, wouldn't hear of it, of course. But they did agree to let the son see the girl the following weekend. The week leading up to the visit was tense. The son took a sick day on that Friday so he could get ready for the visit. He worked in his room all day and wouldn't let anyone see what he was doing. The mom was nervous. She could hear hammers and saws from her son's room. Nothing about the situation made sense to her. The girl was supposed to arrive Friday evening. The appointed time came and went. The son stayed in his room, listening to music. The mom, concerned for the girl's safety, called her host family and got a recording. Their numbers had been disconnected, cell and landline both. The dad was working late that night, so the mom decided to go upstairs and talk things over with her son. But when she got to the top of the stairs, the mom heard noises from inside her son's room. There were whimpering sounds and what sounded like the ripping of cloth. The mom burst through the door and onto a scene that froze her mind in unthinkable horror. The girl was already there. A man and a woman, the mom later realized, probably the girl's new host parents, were nailed to crosses that the son must have erected in his room that day. They were alive, but their blood was dripping down their naked bodies, being collected on the floor by 2 large metal pans. When the mom burst in, her son was on all 4s, naked, lapping up the blood from one pan. The girl stood over him. She too was completely naked and had covered herself in red gore. She looked at the mom and gave out a shriek that wasn't human. It was like an eagle's call mixed with a woman's scream. The mom turned and ran. She heard footsteps behind her and barely made it to her own bedroom, where she locked and barricaded the door. They started pounding on it immediately, pounding so hard the wood began to splinter and crack. The mom realized she left her cell downstairs, and her landline was dead. Not knowing what else to do, she went to the computer on her dressing table and quickly typed an email to her sister that lived 1,000 miles away in the Midwest. And that's how the public learned of this story. The sister, though, didn't check her email until a day later, and by then she'd already gotten the news. The mom was dead. Her house burned to the ground. There were 2 unidentifiable bodies in the ashes, and the son had disappeared once again. The exchange students' host family, all 4 of them, were never found. The only lead the police ever had was a picture from a security camera in British Columbia that came in 2 days later. It showed the girl and the son in a convenience store north of Vancouver. When questioned, the store clerk said they were a very weird couple who asked where the local hospital was. They said they wanted to give blood.